She's 9 years old. She has beautiful brown skin, long black hair, and full lips. She's of Mexican and Filipina ancestry. Yet every time she looks in the mirror, she hates what she sees. She hates her brown skin and her full lips and her black hair. She wants to look like the girls on TV. That 9-year-old girl was me. And that was honestly one of my earliest self-perceptions at such a young age. And to feel that much hate is saddening. When the media and our school courses are constantly pushing out Eurocentric beauty standards and history, it creates an intergenerational culture of self-hatred that we're not even aware of. This colonized system is broken. But I'm here to hopefully create some kind of a bridge. My name is Simone Hufana, and I'm the founder and creator of Color Herstory. She looks like me, therefore I can be. I create coloring books that are solely based on influential brown, black, and indigenous women in order to bring liberation through art and education. It's funny because usually when I start out my business pitches, it's with that hook, that initial storytelling, right? And I haven't gotten on a stage and spoken in about 2 years because of the pandemic. And the last time I even grabbed a mic and was in front of people talking about my story, talking about my work, was actually 2 years ago in like 2018. And it was literally after the first ever Pinayista Summmit. I was 18 years old at the time, and I had been running my business for about a year then. So started at 17 in high school, created it then, and then had been running with it for a year. I think at the time I was probably the youngest person in the space so far. And I just showed up alone. You know, I got the little scholarship, came and helped out, and I was like, I don't know no one, but I'm gonna pop up and find out. And that's exactly what I did. And I learned, I met so many people, made so many connections, strengthened connections, felt so full and loved and heard and seen, and then immediately the next day got flown out to New York. So I was really feeling like her. You know, I'm getting flued out to New York. I'm getting my flight and my hotel paid for, very much 18 years old. I was like, I'm thriving, look at me go. And the work I do with Color Herstory is very much just my truth. So it's something that I worked really hard at that moment, but I felt prepared. You know, I'm like fresh out of the Pinayista Summit, feeling hella good, hopping on this flight. And it was great. I had an amazing experience, and I feel like it was a really pivotal moment as a young woman of color in business to experience something like that. So I went out there in New York. It was a national entrepreneurship competition. I had written a 20-page business plan. I had practiced a 10-minute pitch. You know, I'm prepared. I feel like I'm ready to go into combat. And I went out there and I did my thing. You know, I got on stage. I spoke from my heart. I spoke as authentic as I can. And I did that. I came out on top, and I won the national competition. And that was literally right after the first Pinayista Summit. So it's like kind of a full circle moment for me to be standing on stage right now, you know, doing this. But it's crazy because I felt I could have like floated home. I was glowing, you know, like I was strutting down the streets of New York like, damn, like I'm really holding it down for my community right now. But then as soon as I landed back in the Bay Area, it's kind of like a switch flipped. I came home feeling small. I came home feeling belittled. I came home feeling unseen. So the organization that I had been working with and that hosted that national business competition, I had been involved with for a couple of years now, you know, workshops, like competing in business competitions, very connected. There's local chapters. So I was pretty tied in, you know, like I've been rocking with them for a minute. But for some reason, the minute that I got back home, they chose to elevate the face and the voice and the platforms of another competitor in the Bay Area that came out with me. He didn't win anything, he did compete, but he was a white boy. And they gave him all the PR, and they gave him all the platform, and they gave him all the space. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, okay, well, like, whatever, like, this is just how stuff goes sometimes, I guess. And it wasn't until my mentors and the people around me were like, hey, that's not cool, because why do they only use your face when they want money? Yeah, I was their token brown girl when they needed charity money, when they needed someone to speak. And it took me a while to even process how messed up that was, just because it feels so comfortable and it feels so regular. And so we addressed this issue, let's talk about it. Young brown women in your program shouldn't be treated like this. And of course, they gave their sorry little apology and kept it pushing and just kept giving him the space, kept giving him the platform. And at this time, I'm very much still 18 years old, still jumping back into real life and going through life transitions at this age. I started college. I was living in a dorm for the first time away from my family. But at that time, with all of this happening, I was ready to just drop it all. I mean, with all the transition of college and being unhappy, my anxiety being at an all-time high, back-to-back panic attacks, all of this weight of the media and things that happening in business going down, I was just ready. I left college. I actually dropped out and moved home after a semester. And it just felt really discouraging and belittling. And I was ready to throw the towel in with Color Herstory as well. I was just like, what's the point? Like, yeah, I walked away with a check and I won a competition, but they're calling the people in the organization when I'm addressing the issues, they're gaslighting me. They're calling me a crybaby. They're calling me dramatic. And it really took me a long time to even confront this situation with myself and even get up and talk about it because I just felt so embarrassed. And this is actually the first time I'm ever even talking about it in person. But it just goes to show that when you lean into your community and when you lean into the support of the women around you and your mentors, it'll really pull you through. Like, we truly do protect us, and it's really for our livelihood to lean into each other, to speak truth and light and love into each other. And that's really what pulled me through that moment. Thanks. Yeah, so here I am today. And that was 18, freshly only 18. Now I'm here 21 years old. Business has been going on for almost 4 years. Now my books stretch across the West Coast from California to Alaska. I'm still doing the damn thing. And I really do owe a lot to my community and the women in my life and my ancestors. And just being grounded in spaces like this have really influenced me to keep doing the work that I do. So sisters, moving forward, I think it is so crucial for our livelihood through all of our creative paths and the work and the paths that we're going down, that we need to really continue to create spaces like this and be vulnerable and lean into each other for support and for help, because it is so important, right? Like, sure, our existence is revolutionary, but that's only really through community too. And that's what I'm figuring out with myself and my work, and I'm only so young, but this is 21 for me, and I just want to leave y'all with a quote I feel like is really applicable to this story that I'm telling, and I wanted to pull it from a foremother of the revolution whose work has influenced my life so much, Miss Audre Lorde, and she says, "When we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard or welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So speak." Thank you.